trying to speak through the radio that we have with us.
Murder, poltergeist and ghostly apparitions await the most haunted team in the USA. Welcome to Most Haunted USA. Today we welcome you on board one of the world's most famous vessels. For years the pride of the ocean, but now a home to poltergeists, ghostly apparitions and the hundreds of souls who lost their lives at sea. And with so many thought to still roam here, I had to bring you to the Queen Mary. For 30 years a British icon, but now an American tourist trap. The ship made its 1001st and final journey across the Atlantic, landing in Long Beach, California in 1967. Once a luxury liner for both royal and refined guests, she served her time in World War II by ferrying Allied troops as well as German captives. Known at this point as the Grey Ghost, she also escaped Hitler's attempts to sink her. The leader may have offered the Iron Cross and a small fortune to his wartime bombers, but it was Winston Churchill who had the satisfaction of walking aboard in May 1943, sharing his trip to New York with 5,000 prisoners of war. Peacetime returned, and so too in 1947 did the ship's passenger line service. But by 1966, the Queen Mary was up for sale, and in July the following year, Britain lost a national treasure, as a bid was accepted to take the vessel to its probable final resting place, Long Beach, California. First opened to guests in 1972, the Queen Mary still stands tall as a hotel, restaurant and museum to the many memories that are held within its walls.
They say that the Titanic was the ship of dreams, but this ship, the Queen Mary, this is a ship of ghosts. We're talking of a ship that has contained memories of so many people for nearly 70 years, contained within its metal cladding. We're talking of a ship that probably has more ghosts on it than any other ship in the world, and we're talking of the 6th most haunted property in the whole of the United States.
Here in the first class suite area, the ghost of a man wearing a 1930s suit has been seen many times by tour guides and guests alike. But it's not just here in the corridors that he makes his presence known, it's also in the bedroom areas. Lights turn themselves on and off, and many passengers have heard heavy breathing, and in the dead of night, many people have actually felt the bedclothes being pulled off them.
From 1939, only 3 years after she was launched, she became a troop ship, conveying troops, both American, Canadian and British. And not only that, but she also took a great number of prisoners of war, some of them in very poor condition, and many of them, of course, died on this ship. This ship had approximately 55 deaths that we know of that are recorded, 16 crew members, 38 passengers, and nobody knows how many soldiers, airmen, prisoners of war also died on this ship. So we have a ship that is very, very haunted, to say the least.
It is said here in the Queen's Salon that the ghost of a woman wearing a white, long flowing gown has been seen dancing all on her own to an unseen orchestra. Also, strange globes of light have been seen floating across the floor.
The best bit of the whole of this ship, every ghost hunter's dream, is on B deck, room B340.
Every corridor on the Queen Mary has a story to tell, and this one is no exception because it leads to the infamous room B340.
The whole place, of course, is a hotel, and for a hotel not to use one of its rooms means an awful lot of loss of revenue. But B340 is never used for guests.
And this is it. It's on the 3rd level, and it's thought to be the site of a gruesome murder. It's no longer rented out because of the strange disturbances that have plagued crew and guests alike. Strange, dark shapes, odd noises, laughter and screams, poltergeist activity are said to be prevalent in this very unwelcoming room.
So many guests, when they did stay in it, fled the room in the middle of the night, came to reception and insisted on being moved to another room because of the ghostly goings-on. Someone definitely died under very mysterious circumstances in that very room. At one time, she actually took 18,000 troops on a trip from Canada to England. It was the biggest amount of human beings in a vessel ever in the history of the world. With so many souls, so many deaths, and so much emotion contained within these metal walls, no wonder this ship is as haunted as it is. It is reputed that there are over 600 ghosts on this ship. That's why we're here for 3 weeks to investigate it.
So are we dealing with the world's most haunted place? It's a claim that the team often hear, and the enormity of our task isn't lost on Kieran O'Keefe. Furthermore, the parapsychologist is definitely pleased that this investigation won't be condensed into a mere 24 hours.
Kieran, we're on the Queen Mary. It's absolutely enormous. How does this compare to some of the other investigations that you've been on? Not just on Most Haunted, but for yourself personally?
Well, you're right to say the ship is enormous. We're on a ship that's over 1,000 feet long. You walk around it 4 times, it's a mile. So we've got a place where there are a lot of previous eyewitness testimony. It's a huge place to actually even start an investigation, and this is why I'm so thankful that we're here for a period of 3 weeks, because it means we can actually do a thorough investigation.
Apparently there are hundreds of ghosts here. So many people have seen so many different kinds of apparitions. Do you think it's possible because the ship is still sort of looks as it did in the 1930s?
Yeah, we've got a location here that is only 70 years old. When you compare that to previous Most Haunted locations, it's quite a modern location. However, a lot has happened on this ship. We've got a GI history in terms of the Second World War, we've got a history in terms of leisure cruises, that sort of thing, and I think you're right, the interior is still the same as it would have been 70 years ago. So maybe there's an issue where the ghosts are still going through their daily activity. In addition to that, there have been a lot of traumatic events associated with the Queen Mary, and maybe a lot of the paranormal activity is associated with people that have died under traumatic circumstances. What is truly unique about this investigation is that it lasts for 3 weeks. Now, this is certainly a first for Queen Mary in that we've got 3 continuous weeks of investigation, but it's also unique, I think, in television history to have that period of time. In addition, there have been several of the crew here a week before that, so we're talking literally about 4 weeks of investigation. It's an ideal opportunity to monitor the situation, to have people sleeping in certain rooms that are haunted. It's going to be great.
And it's great because it's never been done before.
Exactly.
This is indeed a unique opportunity in our extensive search for conclusive proof of paranormal existence, and we expect to collect up to 100 hours of footage. The Queen Mary may be one of the youngest places that Most Haunted has explored, but early expectations are that this could be the one location that will take us closer to life after death. Once the pride of Britain's ocean fleet, the Queen Mary has spent the last 4 decades in Long Beach, California.